Shine on me, shine on me. Shine on me, shine on me. I've been going out of my head. I've been waiting for someone to give me help. All I'm asking for is just some space and some time, then I'll be alright. I've been having thoughts in my mind I can't get out. Tell me things I can't say myself, from you and nobody else. Everything is out of my sight. This is all so new to me. I can do it all in your way. Say all the things that you say. I can do it all in one night. When I go out, the light doesn't shine on me. I fade out. It's all so new to me.
Do you ever have one of those days where you just need to get through the day? Well, that's me today. I just need to get a few things done before it gets way out of control, but I am so exhausted. I'm like 33 weeks pregnant. I feel like I should be nesting and have all this energy, but I feel the exact opposite. Now, you don't have to be pregnant to experience low energy, but what I've noticed is that if I am feeling so much low energy, mainly because I've just been sitting around all day, then the best thing for me to do is to get up and move my body. So here we are today, pushing through and seeing how much we can get done. Now, Tony Robbins says that emotion is created through motion. So for me, if I had decided to just sit around all day long, then I can guarantee you that I would not be in a good mood by the end of the day. In fact, I would feel guilty for not getting a lot done. I would just feel even less energy the next day. But I can tell you that making the decision to get off the couch and actually get something done today really heightened my mood, made me feel so accomplished, and also in a better mood the next day. Now, there's always a time and place for rest, but for me, today was not that day. So for you, I want you to make the decision on how you're going to utilize today and how that is going to impact your mood. So I'm going to go ahead and get started in the living room. Typically, the main disastrous areas are what I like to work on. Although today, it's actually not super disastrous. I'm trying to keep up with the mess more and more so that it doesn't become so overwhelming. Back before pregnancy, I had so much more energy than I do now, so I definitely have to keep it more manageable. So in the living room today, the kitchen, our master bedroom, and then I have some laundry to do. And then the next morning, I'm finally going to start going through some of the girl clothes and working a little bit in the nursery, or the room that will become the nursery. So let's go ahead and get started. If you are new here and this is the first video you have ever watched of mine, then I do want to say thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it when we have a really, really awesome community. I say that like every single time, but I truly mean it. So a little background on me. My name is Michelle and my husband's name is Chris. He pops in and out of videos, especially when I have like makeover type videos, home makeover or home projects. He helps out a ton in those types of videos. We will be married for 9 years this September, and we have 2 beautiful daughters. Sailor will be 5 in October, and then Savannah will be 3 in just a couple of weeks. So I'm actually planning out her birthday party. It'll be like mermaid or Disney Ariel themed, and I'll show you guys all of the party prep in an upcoming video. Not only that, I am 33 weeks pregnant, like I mentioned before, probably 34 weeks by the time this video is posted, and it will be our first boy. I work full-time from home in the oil and gas industry and also juggle all of the homemaking tasks, which is mainly what I share on this channel. Over the last almost 2 years and being home more than I had ever been home in my life is when I really started to take on a lot of homemaking roles. I started to try and organize a little bit better, create systems in my home that work. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes I just live in the chaos, and sometimes I'm really, really proud of the accomplishment that's come. So I wouldn't say that I'm an extreme cleaner, an extreme organizer, or perfectionist. I just test different things, go with the flow, and then find what works best. Now with cleaning videos, I know the goal is always to motivate, but with my channel, I really like to inspire. Inspiration is what sparks new beginnings, new ideas, new motivations, so that is what I like to lean towards. So if you feel like that's something you want to get out of a video, then I would love for you to subscribe.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding.
So I just recently did a bigger office declutter video, and it's funny because I had taken everything out and put it in the hallway, or went through it, decluttered, organized it and everything, and then I finished everything, and someone had asked, what did you do with all this stuff in the hallway? And if you look in the corner, it's all still there. Well, at least when I recorded this video, it's all still there, but what I ended up doing, that's all donate stuff. So anything that I recycled or threw away is already out, and then that is the last pile of donations. So I actually boxed all that up later that week, and unfortunately it's still sitting in the garage and needs to go to donation center. I'm trying to convince Chris, my husband, to go ahead and take it there. What I'm using here is still the Method Granite Cleaner. That's what I've been using on like all of my most recent videos. Before that I was using Jaws, and then before that I was using 7th generation. I like all of them. I have really no complaints. The only thing that I look for now is try to be a lot more non-toxic cleaners. So 80% is my goal, to do non-toxic cleaners, and then if there is just some really, really bad spots that you just need the good stuff, then that's when I'll like pull out the Lysol wipes or whatever it might be. We had built this house 7 years ago, so this month in July will actually be 7 years that we've lived here, and the island is, I want to say, like 10 or 11 feet long. It was one of the biggest features that sold us on this house, but I didn't realize how much countertop that you have to clean when you decide to go with that much counter space. So the biggest thing I look for in order to keep like the counters sealed and so it doesn't damage the stone is look for some type of stone or granite cleaner and then stick to that. Next, I'm moving on to the bedroom, but when you guys start cleaning, do you have a specific area that you start in? I feel like I don't mean to pick the kitchen or the living room, but since that's like the main area, and if somebody just randomly comes over to our house, not that that happens that often, it's like, oh, I want that area to be clean first because that's what people see. I see a lot of people start in their bedroom first because that's probably the first thing that you guys do in the morning is make your beds. I don't. I wish I was better at doing that. I'm just not. But I'm always like, oh, I can just shut the door if somebody comes over and no one has to even look in there or know that the bed's not made. And in the living room, people can visibly see that. So let me know in the comments below. But that being said, I do like it when the bed is made. It looks so much prettier and all the stuff is not on the floor. And also, since I do my laundry on the bed, it makes it easier to like spread everything out. So I probably make my bed, I want to say once a week. I know that's not great, but for now, that's what it is.
Right now I'm standing in a corner. I see you from across the room. It's kinda crowded here, but I know you see me too. Everybody's singing, oh, everybody's singing, oh. I don't know what it is about you. It must be in the way you move. Just say you want me to. We got nothing to lose.
going to finish vacuuming up here in the bedroom. I'm using the Dyson. I think it's a V7, so it's a lot older model, and we've already had to get a new battery for it. I also have the Tingo, which has a light and is also nice and powerful, but for some reason I just grabbed this one. I'll also vacuum up in the living room area, and then I will start doing some laundry. But I do have a story that I owe y'all. If y'all have been watching the last couple of videos, we've been talking about like crazy things that you found in your home, and I'm talking like animal wise. I mentioned that because it's summertime, like we just get a lot of bugs in our room, in our home, and I just can't stand most bugs don't bother me, but I just don't like cockroaches. And I asked you guys to tell me different stories about different crazy things that you found in your home. I shared all of y'all, some of those top comments of y'all's stories last week's video, and I said that somebody said that they had found, actually a couple people said that they have found like bats in their house, not bats but like a bat, and I said that I would share with y'all my crazy rabies story. So it was on our honeymoon about 9 years ago. We took a cruise. We're big cruise people, and we took a cruise out of Puerto Rico, and it went to 5 or 6 beautiful islands like St. Croix, St. Lucia, St. Martin, and then one of the stops was Barbados, and this was on the very last day. We did excursions at each island and had an awesome time. And the excursion that we picked in Barbados was an animal encounter as well as snorkeling. And there was one more thing I can't remember. So we ended up taking that excursion, and we were with like another group of people, and we went to this park area. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, there was like, you walk through it and there's just like monkeys and all different types of animals all over, and you're just walking with them within that like park area. And they were kind of caged in. I don't know how wild they were. I can't remember all of it. But anyway, they were giving us food so that we could feed the monkeys. And I remember, being one of the ones not scared to feed the monkeys. A lot of people in the other group were. So I fed the monkeys and whatever, it was fine. And then as we were kind of walking to the next area of the park where we would see more animals, one of the monkeys jumped out at me. And to this day, I don't know if it bit me or scratched me. I was looking the other direction, and it kind of jumped out of a tree onto the sidewalk I was walking and grabbed a hold of my arm. And there was a very, very small cut. It didn't hurt. I wasn't like endangered or anything. But the people started getting really concerned that it drew blood. It was like, it's okay. I'm completely fine. Like, it was a very, very tiny minor scratch. I did not need medical attention or anything like that. But some of the people there, the natives seemed concerned. And even some of the people in the group, they were just like, you need to go get that checked out. And I was just like, I'm fine. There's nothing, I barely even need a Band-Aid. It's not even bleeding that much. So anyway, we went throughout the whole, that was the last day of our cruise, and we finished out everything. And then I started getting really nervous. Like, people, I think, were starting to make me feel very uncomfortable. Like, well, you don't know what diseases that monkey has and all of this stuff. And it sounded crazy. So anyway, we got back home, and then I had to start work like the next Monday. And I thought to myself, I feel my arm tingle. And I told my boss at the time, like, I'm feeling nervous. This happened. And she's like, you need to call your doctor. So I called my general, doctor. And they're like, okay, what do you need to come in for? And, I'm back in the US. And I'm like, well, I've been bit by a monkey. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. I told them the story, and they're like, okay, we've never had that happen before, but you can come in and see what they say. So I ended up going in, and the doctor is just like, you've been what? Like, I think I was bit by a monkey. I was either bit or scratched. So they gave me a tetanus shot, and they were like, well, we can't do anything here. So they referred me to an infectious disease specialist. So here I am now going to an infectious disease specialist, and they take it very seriously. They kind of understand me better, like, oh yeah, we've had all different types of cases, and they actually recommended me to get this series of rabies. I don't know if it's an anti-rabies vaccine or if it was the rabies vaccine, and they were like, unless we can actually catch the monkey, then we don't know like what it was. So it's just, best to go ahead and do this. And I'm reading all the paper, 20 or more pages. I'm getting really nervous about like possible side effects. And I asked the nurse there, would you get this shot if you were in my situation where you weren't 100% sure? She's like, get the shot or die of rabies. I would get the shot. And he actually said he did have someone else get like bit by a monkey. The only thing is I couldn't tell if it grabbed and scratched me or if it actually bit me, because it was like the right side of my arm and I was looking over to the left. So I didn't know. And it was such a small thing of blood that I couldn't really tell. So anyways, I had to get a series of rabies shots. Each shot was over $2,000. Luckily, insurance covered it, so I didn't have to pay that much. But it was very regimented. The first day I had to go in and get 3 shots. Then on days 3, I had to go in and get another series of shots. Then day 7, I had to get another series of shots. It was very intense. They were really big shots. And then they were also nervous about other things. So I had to get on different types of medication. And I was like, this is the craziest thing that has ever happened to me. And luckily, I'm 9 years past that incident. So thankfully, I didn't get rabies. And they said that vaccine had only not worked one time. And it was from someone who had been bit by a bat. So that was a pretty interesting and crazy story. So lesson learned, I don't get near animals anymore because I don't want to go through that again. But now back to the video and organizing a bit. So I am now moved into Savannah's room. This is the room that is going to become the nursery that I haven't started yet because I'm waiting on the bunk beds in order to move Savannah out of this room into Sailor's room. So they're going to share a room in the other room. This is going to become the nursery. So the first steps that I need to do is clear out all of the clothes. That way I can start bringing in baby boy's clothes. He doesn't have a name yet. That's why I keep saying baby boy, because we're indecisive on a name. But over the last 4 years, well, Sailor's almost 5. So I have so much girl clothes. And it's going to take me longer than just this amount of time to go through all of it. But what I'm doing here is going through anything that is not going to fit her right now, putting that away in a box. And then I have several boxes that I like all the way from 0 to 2T clothes that I need to now get rid of because we are not having any more children. This will be our last one, and we don't need girl clothes. Now, my neighbor across the street is having a girl, and she is due like 3 weeks before me. So everything that is 0 to 6 month, I am putting in boxes and just going ahead and giving to her. So here we go, 8 months pregnant and finally starting all things baby.
I see a sky with a reindeer car, but I'm not running. I see a train moving all too fast, but I'm not leaving. And you go round and round and round, and you cannot see. I'll be right behind you, honking the tree. You look so beautiful today, and how the game is changing. Just like a stranger, suddenly knows everything.
So when I go through and declutter anything, the number one positive comment I get is that it has helped you. You're in a similar boat. it helped you kind of go through and declutter some of the things that you don't need. The number one negative comment I get is that you just don't like that I have too much stuff, or that I have a shopping addiction. I'm broke because of the stuff that I buy. The best way to declutter is to not buy anything at all, that there's nothing to declutter, but what a boring video that would be. So all the assumptions that are not typically true, but one thing that is true is that I do have a lot of baby clothes. So for my own scenario in my own life, and having two girls that were under 2 so close together, I am such a girl mom and I like buying baby girl clothes, as does my friends and family who have gifted me with a lot of the stuff. So I have not gone through it in 5 years. Everything is boxed up. I kept it in case we had another girl. I was certain we were having another girl. So there's definitely a lot of boxes of clothes over the last 5 years, and that's what I am going through now. Now, I do buy them outfits for a lot of occasions. I like having different outfits for different things, and it's just fun for me. So I don't know. It doesn't make me broke or anything. Have I calmed down with buying baby clothes? Absolutely. But for the time being, first time mom, buying matching outfits, I have double, because even though I can pass down a lot of stuff to Savannah, there are times where I wanted matching outfits. So I obviously bought her, new clothes too. So all of this stuff is an old box that is probably newborn or 0 to 3 month. And because I need the totes, I'm putting this into like an old Amazon box. And then that is what's going over to my neighbor. Now, it wasn't that easy for me to go through. For some reason, I do hold emotion to certain things, not so much my things, but to my kids' things. I noticed that I do have some type of emotional connection to that, but I just had to remember, I need room for the new baby stuff. And since I know that's my last one, as like he gets older, so like when he's out of the newborn clothes, then I can go ahead and get rid of that instead of storing 5 boxes of clothes, in case I had another one. But at the end of the day, I had to take my emotional cap off, put on my declutter and get rid of cap. And just knowing that I'm giving it to someone I know makes me feel better. Now, once, she goes through all that stuff, then I am going to be donating the rest. So for me, holding on to the emotion was a really hard part. But what I had to remember is that I still have the memory. I still have, the picture. So if I ever need to come back to that, I don't need the physical aspect of it. They're never going to wear it again. I'm never going to use this, stuff again. So if I need to hold on to something, I can always go back to my pictures or my videos or my memory of them in the outfit, and not have to feel like I need that physical outfit.
A couple hours from Japan, would you stay awake? I'm losing touch of who I am when you're far away. And I feel like I'm running in circles around you. And I know I've been acting strange for a while, but I want you close, ooh, closer than before, and no one knows, ooh, that I want you close. I'm not overthinking feelings, I just need you to know that I want you close, ooh, closer than before.
A couple weeks ago in a video, I was talking about burnout, like feeling burnt out, doing the same tasks all the time. And I had mentioned a suggestion by Angie Lee. I read in one of her podcasts where you ask yourself, what would make this fun again? But then I was listening to another podcast by Jenna Kutcher, and she had a different suggestion, and I thought I'd just share it. And her suggestion was to ask yourself the question. It was something like, what would your 10-year-old self be disappointed in you if you were to quit? My first initial thought would be, my 10-year-old self would be like, why did you quit gymnastics? But, you got to think a little deeper than that. But I think that it would be that I wanted to do so much. I grew up with divorced parents, not a lot of money. In high school, we moved to 3 different apartment complexes, and I always just remember thinking, like, you can do it, set big goals and accomplish them, follow through with them. So I would have to say I would be disappointed in quitting a goal because it felt uncomfortable at the time. So leaning into uncomfortable things is what's really going to change you. So if you were to look back at yourself at 10 years old and leave me a comment down below, what would you say to yourself and what would you change now if it's something that you're not happy with?
But I want you close, closer than before. But I want you close. I just need you to know that I want you close.
So this is really just the start of the organizing and decluttering of clothes process. Moving from 2 dressers and 2 closets and combining it into one will be a little bit of a challenge, but it'll be manageable now that we can get rid of a lot of the clothes that just don't fit anymore. I continue to use the KonMari folding method because it is so much easier to see what we have. Also, utilizing the drawer organizers is just such a game changer, especially with like small clothes like their size. So once I've gotten 2 boxes out, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. But I hope you enjoyed the long chats, and obviously there's lots more to come. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see all of you guys next week.